Call someone on the phone right now. No text first, no warning, just dial their number and wait for them to pick up. In 2019, that was called staying in touch. In 2026, most people would rather receive a call from an unknown number than an unannounced one from someone they know. Because the unknown number might be spam. The known number means something is wrong. A Reddit thread went viral this week asking a simple question. What was normal in 2019 but looks like psychopath behavior in 2026? The answers came in thousands. Going to work sick, showing up at someone's house without texting, sharing food from the same plate, coughing in a meeting without a mask, bragging about never taking a day off. 7 years ago, every single one of those was ordinary. Now they read like a list of social crimes. Something happened between 2019 and 2026 that rewrote the rules of acceptable behavior faster than any event in modern history that did not involve a war or a revolution. And nobody voted on them. Start with the most obvious one, because it is also the most revealing. Going to work sick. In 2019, showing up to the office with a cold was not just accepted, it was rewarded. You were tough, dedicated, a team player. Staying home for a sniffle was a soft move. Today, someone coughs once in a meeting. Half the room looks up. Nobody says anything, but everyone is calculating how close they are sitting. A few will leave. Some will message HR after. Same cough, same meeting room, completely different meaning. One Reddit user put it simply, going to work sick and acting proud about it. Absolute villain behavior now. The behavior did not change. The moral framework around it did. In 2019, the person who showed up sick was responsible. In 2026, they are reckless. Same action, opposite meaning. 6 years apart. That kind of moral inversion usually takes decades. This one took 3 months. In March 2020, governments told people to stay home. By June 2020, going to work sick had become an act of aggression. The transition was not gradual. It was a switch. And it did not switch back. But illness was only the beginning. The pandemic did something much stranger than changing hygiene norms. It changed how people think about personal space, social obligation, and the line between private life and public performance. Before 2020, a meeting that could have been an email was a joke. After 2020, millions of people spent 2 years discovering that most of their work could be done from a laptop at their kitchen table. In 2019, about 6% of the American workforce worked from home. By the peak of the pandemic, over 60%. In 2026, it settled at 23%. That is not a return to normal. That is a new floor. Because something happened during those 2 years that nobody planned for. People realized the office was not about productivity. It was about being seen. About performing the act of working where someone could verify you were doing it. When the pandemic ended, millions refused to go back. 64% of remote workers say they would quit if their employer eliminated remote work. The illusion broke, and you cannot unexperience an insight. In 2019, driving a Tesla meant you cared about the environment. In 2026, it means something else entirely. The car did not change, the association did. In 2019, hanging an American flag outside your house was patriotic. In 2026, people read political affiliation into it. Same flag, same house, different signal. In 2019, watching television without subtitles was normal. In 2026, 80% of young people watch everything with captions. Not because they have hearing problems, because the pandemic taught them to watch in silence, in shared spaces without disturbing anyone. A lockdown habit became a permanent preference. Nobody decided it, it just happened. All of these changes share one feature. No institution decided them. No legislature debated them. No committee approved them. A pandemic happened. People adapted. The emergency ended. The adaptations stayed. Your grandmother shook hands every Sunday at church for 60 years. She stopped in March 2020. She never started again. Not because someone told her not to, because she realized she had never especially wanted to. That is the mechanism. The pandemic did not create new preferences. It removed the social cost of acting on preferences people already had. Millions of people secretly wanted to stop going to the office 5 days a week. Millions secretly wanted to stop pretending that showing up sick was brave. Millions secretly wanted the phone to stop ringing without warning. Once the cost was removed, the preferences became norms. Once they became norms, violating them became deviant. That is why the Reddit thread exists. The things that feel like psychopath behavior in 2026 feel that way because the moral framework flipped. Not through argument, not through persuasion, through removal of friction. And the strangest part is that the new rules do not feel new anymore. They already feel obvious, as if they had always been there. The Reddit thread has tens of thousands of upvotes. People are laughing, sharing it, tagging friends. But there is something in the responses that nobody is really sitting with. Some of the new norms are improvements. Not coughing on your coworkers is good. Working from home is good for many people. Texting before you call is a reasonable courtesy. But some of what changed is harder to celebrate. In 2019, if someone knocked on your door unexpectedly, you assumed they wanted to see you. In 2026, your first thought is, why didn't they text? Before you open the door, you check your phone. Not for the visitor's identity, for a warning, a heads up, an explanation for why someone is doing something that 7 years ago was simply called visiting. People touch less now. They visit less. They tolerate less unplanned contact. A friend showing up unannounced is not spontaneous anymore. It is a boundary violation. In 2023, the Surgeon General of the United States stood at a podium and said loneliness is killing as many Americans as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Then, he said something unusual for someone in his position. He admitted he had experienced it himself. The average American spent significantly more time alone in 2024 than in 2019. Not by choice, exactly, by habit. The pandemic taught people to be comfortable with distance, and comfort became preference, and preference became identity. And one of the contributing factors, quietly, is the same set of norm changes that the Reddit thread finds so funny. The norms that protect us from germs also protect us from each other. We got safer. We also got harder to reach. Every boundary the pandemic taught us to enforce. The text before you call, the distance in the elevator, the working from home, the not showing up uninvited. Every single one also removed an opportunity for unplanned human connection. An unplanned human connection is how most relationships actually deepen. Not through scheduled Zoom calls, not through curated text messages, through the awkward, unexpected, slightly inconvenient moments of just showing up. A phone rings in another room. Nobody moves. Everyone stares at it like something bad just happened. That is 2026. The question is not whether the new norms are better or worse. Some are better, some are worse. Most are both. The question is what it means that they changed this fast, this permanently, without anyone choosing them. And whether the things we gained were worth what we quietly gave up. The phone does not ring anymore. Nobody knocks on the door. Nobody shows up unannounced. We optimized human interaction until nothing unexpected could get in. And somewhere in that process, loneliness stopped feeling lonely. It just started feeling normal.